You're on.
Good morning, Westminster, and good morning, Carol, and good morning, Boyd.
Good morning, Boyd. Good
Hi,
morning,
Carol.
Ken.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
I'm good, and we want to welcome our very special guests today, Susie and John Parker, and we will visit with them in just a short while.
But
Hello,
you know
Parkers.
what?
How are you?
Hello. How are you? First, let's congratulate the members elected to the Residents Association Executive Committee.
Congratulations to them.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a good meeting and an election Monday night, and so we have Sheldon Lloyd was reelected. He's the designated member to the residents to the Westminster Board of Directors that runs things around here. Cynthia Leach was reelected for a 2-year term. She's been head of the Building and Grounds Committee and has done a really good job. Camille Miller was reelected to a 2-year term, and Camille has been chair of the Hidden Treasures Committee, so she's eager to get back to work. And then Lori Humphreys, who has been an assistant secretary for us and is chair of the Westminster Presents and is a co-managing editor of the Writers Journal, was elected as a member of the executive committee. And Julie Brooks is a new member of the executive committee. So really excited to have all these people on board, and we're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of work to do during the coming year.
It sounds like it. The Residents Association is very busy, even in the midst of a pandemic.
That's right. We had a lot of committees functioning. The Welcoming Committee, of course, Westminster Presents, the Writers Journal came out, the banner. So the committees are looking forward to a big year this year, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to some sense of normality before too long in the new year. And so these committees are, excuse me.
I was going to say, what about the Writers Journal?
The Writers Journal's out and it's on sale at the little store, and it was on sale in the lobby of the Preston and Tuesday, I think, and it's on sale in the lobby of the Windsor tomorrow afternoon. You can also get a copy on Amazon, and if you like to read it on the ebook, you can get an ebook copy there. That's available on Amazon. Or if you want to mail copies to your friends, you can buy it on Amazon and they'll do the mailing for you at a reasonable price. Or if you're a Prime member, it's included.
And it's self-sustaining, right? In other words, the sales of this edition, this winter edition, will pay for the next one coming out this spring, right?
That's right. And so our ability to have an edition in the spring depends on selling these the fall edition. So the money that we raise in selling this one goes toward the publication of the next one. So it's completely self-sustaining, which is really a good thing. And it's not the only reason to buy the journal, because there's some really good pieces in there, including one by you, Ken Cook. So
well, thank you, Boyd.
They make good Christmas presents too.
That's right. That's right. So buy a bunch, send them to all your family, friends. Send them to your enemies. I don't care. But at any rate,
Now, I think we've neglected our guests long enough, and we want to visit with them some.
Sure.
Ken and I spent a wonderful little time visiting with them a few days ago. Busy people. They've done so many interesting things. They live on the 4th floor of the Preston building and just moved here in July. And I've been wanting to have somebody that's moved here during the pandemic on the show. And so I think I asked you this the other day, what's it like to move in here right when everything is shut down and it's hard to make friends or sustain friends? I think you all said the other day, it's weird, but could you sum up in about one sentence, what has it been like for you to move in here with nothing like you expected, I'm sure? Quiet. Okay. Oh, restful.
Right.
Well, yeah, usually it's bustling. So it'll be
We
Go
really
ahead.
don't know what it's like to move in during normal times. So,
I'm sure, yeah. Well, we're all looking forward to that, and we keep reassuring the new people coming in, oh, you're gonna love it, you're gonna love it, and you're all waiting to love it, I know. So,
Where did you all move from?
We lived here in Austin.
You moved
We had a house.
here in Austin.
Yeah.
So,
we raised our family in Houston, but we have a little house out on Lake Travis that sometimes goes underwater. And so
Susie, when
we
you-
lived up there.
not at
when
Graveyard
we-
Point. You're not at Graveyard Point, are you?
Our house is the same height as many of the houses on Graveyard Point.
Where is it?
Susie, when you first talked, you said that when you first met, you and John, that you were at Baylor, and you both knew that you were going to be have a vagabond marriage. Is that right?
Yes, yes. John is a civil engineer and heavy in civil construction. And he had traveled before we married to Iran and Nicaragua.
South Africa.
Yes, so I knew what I was getting into. We made an agreement that if he would not go any job that was single status, that I would not complain about anywhere that we lived together.
He almost made good on that promise.
With a few exceptions.
well, just going with the flow, I guess. And you also told me you lived in Indonesia, is it, for 4
Yes.
years or something like that? Can you
Yeah.
tell us what took you to all of these places? And I know you did a lot of good works type things and used your particular talents for buildings or nursing or whatever. What were some of the places you went to? How'd you find that, and what did you do there?
Well, how we got there, somebody asked us to go. Sometimes it was the boss, so
Uh-huh,
we went.
that's
but it-
right. Do what the boss says.
2 weeks after we were married, we were living in the Dominican Republic. John was building a nickel mine, and we were there for 2 years. And then we came home and had our family and didn't go overseas again until our youngest was about to go to college.
Oh,
And we went to Indonesia then.
We spent about 3 years in Virginia working on a dock, and
and what did you do in Indonesia?
well, I was supervising a part of a Caltex oil field project infrastructure. We built roads and pipelines for Caltex so they could drill oil. And
Mhm.
Susie was running a quilting sweatshop.
Excuse me.
Oh, Susie, you told me about buying that batik material. Was that
Oh,
there?
yes, yes.
Tell me about
Yes.
that.
Well, there was an act, the wives were not allowed to work. And I did a little bit of volunteer work with John, but mostly the wives sat around the house and got bored. But there was a very active quilting group, and the Caltex people went home every summer and came back with yards and yards of American fabric. And there were a few Indonesian women who wanted to join, but the American women decided that you could only join if you used American fabric. And of course, the Indonesian women didn't have any access to that. But John and I made a trip to Bali while we were there and found a market where the Balinese batiks were sold. And I got a piece of fabric that my daughter-in-law had sent me to make a quilt. And it was the same fabric that she had sent. I found she paid $9 for it. I paid $1.25 for it. And so we were able to sort of open up the group to the Indonesian women who would buy the Balinese batiks.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And tell me about the place where you did the nursing or whatever that was, or the little clinics that were
We went-
set up out there.
We went to Haiti in about 2003, I guess, and spent, and the stated purpose was to build a nursing school for Medical Benevolence Foundation. They had a grant from USAID. And when we got down there, Susie got drafted to run a guest house at the hospital. And so she had more work to do than I did. But we spent a year down there doing that.
We would invite groups from the United States, usually groups of doctors that would come and some of their nurses and their anesthetists, and they would perhaps work in the hospital in the operating rooms that they had there. But also we would take them out of the town that we were in and up into the mountains and hold mobile clinics for maybe 200 or 300 people, Haitian people, for each day. And we'd go to a different a town each day, and they would bring medicines and some of them eyeglasses. And the Indonesian people, often that was the only way that they could see a doctor. And the groups would stay about a week. It was a very, very good mission trip. We also had groups that would come to work in the hospital that were not medical. And by the way, I'm not medical, but the real benefit was that we were able to provide medical care for a lot of the Haitian people.
Well, listen, you must have been there during the earthquake.
That was the second time we went down. The hospital had closed because lack of funds mainly. And they were trying to get it opened up again, and they wanted Susie to come run the guest house again so that they could bring groups down who were able to pay about a third of the hospital's budget from the funds from the guest house.
We provided all of the planning for what they would do while they were there. We gave them a reasonably comfortable but only cold water place to stay, and meals. And they paid $50 a day, and that money helped that money reopened the hospital. Most of the Haitians who came were not able to pay.
Mhm.
So you were there during the earthquake, did you say?
About the time we got everything set up in the guest house was a building next to the hospital. The earthquake hit after we'd been there about 4 months.
Oh, my goodness.
Our guest house fell down, but the hospital didn't. But nobody wanted to go into the hospital because they were afraid to go in buildings then.
John was trapped in our home. I got out because I had been working with our translators by the door, but the house collapsed. John got trapped in the house for about 4 hours. It was a very exciting time.
That was
Easy
terrible.
for you to think.
Were you injured when you were trapped?
I was extremely lucky. The building pancaked, but there was about a 3 or 4 foot space between where the ceiling was and the floor was after it pancaked. And I was in that, and I was not hurt.
Oh, my.
A group of workers managed to knock a hole in the lintel beam. I probably couldn't get out now, but I was skinnier in those days. I managed to sneak through.
The lintel over a double sliding glass door came down, and the story above us formed a little triangle.
Oh,
And that's where
Mhm.
John was. And then when we were able to get our hands on a sledgehammer, they were able to knock a hole in the lintel, and John crawled out. He caught his belt
Wow.
on the first time he tried to climb out and had to go back in and take his belt off.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Oh my
wow, that
gosh.
was an experience.
So the
then.
people that stayed at the guest house were volunteer doctors and nurses from the United States and other
Yes.
places?
Usually, yes.
They all came from the United States.
Was that like when we see on television sometime, the temporary setups that you've gone out into their areas, and there's just long, long lines of people that wait from time
Yes.
to till you come the next time, and you
Wait
just
for treatment?
wait for their treatment
yeah.
because they hear they're coming and there's a long line of them, and you just must have to have
Yes.
a whole lot of antibiotics with you or you know, medicine.
The people would always be lined up waiting. They always wore their Sunday best when they came to one of the clinics. And we would, most of the people were there early in the morning, but we worked all day, and sometimes some of them had to wait all day for their turn to see the doctor.
The medical groups brought all the supplies. They brought their own
Yeah.
medicine with them, and it was an expensive proposition for them. It was all volunteer.
So
It's such a great-
is there any Haitian medical establishment at all?
Yes, there is. There, Haitian doctors were working in the hospital. The problem was that nobody had any money to pay. People living out in the country had almost no cash income, and they couldn't afford anything.
So they don't have any kind of national health program for their
Oh, no,
No,
people. Yeah.
no
Mhm.
Social Security, no Medicare.
Did you ever have to leave any of them unseen, or did you just wait until you had seen everybody in line?
Yes, we tried to see everybody. Usually we were in a church and the people could sit outside and visit, and the children were running around. Sometimes we took a dentist who had his own chair, and he would spend the day pulling teeth. And I remember just one day in particular, he pulled 103 teeth during
Oh
the
my
day.
goodness, goodness.
And
I think there's a group of dentists from Austin that go to third world countries. It's called Smiles or something like that. There is a group I know.
Mhm.
there's
And I think
also a
my doctor,
Yes, we took, many of our groups bought reading glasses, and everybody who was over 50 could step up to the reading glass table and choose a pair of glasses. And that
Oh
was
my
very popular.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, we don't
Well,
we don't think about how lucky we are here. So
No, people died of, one man died of a toothache.
died of a toothache.
He had one of the places we were going to go one day, we could not go there because the church was having a funeral. And we asked about it, and the man had died because of an abscessed tooth.
oh
And
my goodness.
Unheard of
Hmm.
in this. Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
Well, before we wind this up, Susie, I don't know how many people have read in the little information about new people, but you were not a controller, but what do I want to say? For
programmer.
the Apollo, a what? Programmer, that's it, I
Programmer.
couldn't think of it. Programmer for the Apollo Moon project that I know, I mean, I just went, wow, when I read that. So tell us real quick, what that was like when it
Well-
did everything it was supposed to do, and does everybody jump up and holler like they do at NASA?
Oh, yes, yes, it was a very exciting time to be involved in it. Everyone who worked there had a real spirit about them. And so you didn't mind going in for computer time at 2 a.m. from 2 to 3. Interestingly enough, John and I had not met at the time. But while I was working down at NASA in Houston or Clear Lake, John was in the Navy and was down on Ascension Island and the islands down on the missile range, building the antennas to track and receive the data from the satellites. And one of the programs I wrote was to send a teletype message to each of the tracking stations 15 minutes before they receive the satellite signal, and tell them what direction to point their antennas at. And John was downrange building the antennas.
How
Goodness,
big?
goodness,
Small world. Yeah.
yes. Now, one more thing before we let you go. Both of you are very interested in wood turning, but we're not going to explore that a whole lot because I think you're going to do an entire program on that with our Monday night people. And everybody's looking forward to that. I did not know what wood turning meant exactly, but you explained it to me, and you can do it on that program. So don't worry, everybody.
Well, give me a clue. What is it? What did we talk? What is it?
You take a part of a tree. Go ahead.
You take a piece of wood, put it on a lathe so that it's spinning, and then you cut something round.
John makes bowls. I
Ah,
make wooden pens, wine bottle stoppers, magic
always-
wands.
that's
for my
always
grades.
needed. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the way you make rolling pins and stair spindles and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have fun.
Well, we're anxious to hear all about that when you have your show, and you'll
When
be
you have
able
your
to,
Monday night show. Yeah,
Right.
we're looking forward to that.
and you'll be able to display a lot of your things. I know you sold some at the bazaar last week, so
Yes.
everybody
Yes.
will be looking forward to that.
Looking
Well,
And
forward
the
to
thank you
money's
that.
so
going
much.
to Haiti.
I'm sorry. The money is going to Haiti.
I said, and the money's going to Haiti.
Well, that's wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for being on our show. We really enjoyed getting to
Thank you
know
for
you.
having us.
Thanks for
And,
being
For
here.
taking time for us.
yes, and hang in there.
We will.
Okay,
Well, Boyd, what else is going on at Westminster?
Well, tonight is a big night. It's time for the Ken and Carol and Dan show, right?
right.
Mhm.
It's our music program that's gone through several different stages. Months ago, we were talking about it as a name that holiday tune, but I figured everybody knows every holiday tune, so that didn't pan out. So this is just a whole lot of the Christmas songs for you to enjoy, but we've added two different things, so you're not just looking at us playing and so forth. The videographer who has taped it for us, and he's going to make a DVD for us, has
that the-
added a lot of.
Is that the
Pardon me?
same person that did the talent show video?
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
And he did a program that Ken and I did at Christmas 2 years ago, I think.
Now, the difference is that those shows were widely participated in by all of the residents. This year, because of the pandemic, it's just 3 or 4 people on the whole deal, and we have to do it on the television. It won't be live. Our
Yeah.
in-house 1890 television channel.
To
But the other thing we
7
added-
p.m. tonight, right?
It's 7
Yeah.
p.m. and we will also have, just for some variety, 3 or 4 numbers that you will hear a male singer who was my music director at our church at the time, and this was 30 or 40 years ago. And we made a CD, and so we've lifted several of those songs out just so you'll hear some singing in there too. Don't know where he is these days, but anyway, I hope it's going to be an interesting show with a lot of little things to look at and listen to. So tune in at 7 tonight.
I'm sure that you'll get a big audience because everybody here loves to hear you play, and it's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
And we're also going to have music programs all week in the Preston Courtyard, and they will be on our TV channel. Also, you can read about them in the elevator.
Yeah, and guess what the movie is?
Uh-oh.
Friday night, it's gonna be White Christmas.
Oh.
The famous movie.
Don't touch that dial though, Boyd.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I
I
love
love that
that song.
song.
Well, listen, let's sign off with White Christmas, Boyd. You have the best voice. Why don't you give us a go?
Will the Parkers join in?
We're not promising anything, Boyd.
All right, here we go. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow.
Ding dong.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. Bye, everybody. Happy holidays.